Hello everyone, this is Sivendra and I welcome you all in this session of history. And today's topic are very much of importance, that are going to be discussed today. That are the doctrine of lapse and doctrine of subsidiary lines. So today we will came to know that what were these doctrines and how they benefit British, and what was the purpose of introducing these doctrines in India by the Britishers. Okay, so see here, I have written the first doctrine, the doctrine of subsidiary lands, introduced by Lord Wellesley in year 1798, and the second one was the doctrine of lapse, introduced by Lord Dalhousie in year 1848. So we will see these two doctrines in detail somehow today. Stay with me till last and watch the video till last, and so that you could get it again, get it in details. Okay, and please like, share, and subscribe the channel if you are capable to gain what I want to say. Okay, so let's have a look over these two doctrines. Okay, I once more time I request you all to watch the video till last. If you will watch the video till last, then it will be very easy to for you that you could get these topics in details. And I make sure you all that I will I will make you learn all these two topics till the last of the video. Okay, so stay with me till last and have patience, have your concentration regarding these two topics. Okay, so let's have a look over the doctrine of subsidiary lines, what it was and why it was introduced. So first was the doctrine of subsidiary lines. Okay, doctrine of subsidiary lines. Okay, so listen, as its name is, subsidiary means to help. Okay, to help. So it was the doctrine based on the concept of helping to any Indian kingdom of that time. Okay, when any in any kingdom this doctrine was introduced, or this was implemented, that on the behalf that the company would help that kingdom by his army. Okay, it will protect the kingdom, okay, with his army only on the behalf that the kingdom will let them stay in their territory, and they will not they were supposed to be work under the company's power. Okay, it means you can say simply, any of the kingdom, suppose there was a kingdom, Britishers promised them that they will keep their army in their territory, on the behalf that the kingdom or the emperor would give compensation to the company, okay, for their protection. Okay, and they were not supposed to be make any type of relation, friendly or enmity, okay, hostility to any other kingdom. Still there was the permission given by the company. Okay, unless they were permitted by the company to make any relation with other countries. Okay, so on this behalf the company used to put their army in their kingdom. Okay, and they used to promise that they will help if there was any importance. Okay, and the kingdoms have to pay for the army's expenses, okay, to the company. So let's have a look in detail. First of all, what are the doctrine of subsidiary lines? I have told you once time that it was supposed that company would keep their army in their territory, okay, in any Indian territory, any regional kingdom, okay, and that kingdom will give the expenses of the company for their army, okay, and company would make them protect with other kingdoms. Okay, so write down here. According to this doctrine, one minute, pen is not running. Yes, see here. According to this doctrine, the Indian rulers were not allowed to have their independent armed forces. Allowed to have their independent forces. Independent forces. Okay, it means there was no force for the Indian kingdom, Indian rulers. Okay, they were depend for protection. They were dependent of the Britishers. Okay, and more was that they were to be protected. They were to be protected. This pen is also not running, so I will change another pen. Yes, protected. They were means Indian rulers were protected by the company. Okay, by the company, but they have to pay. They have means the Indian rulers have to pay for the company expenses. For companies expenses. Is that clear? What I want to say? According to this alliance, Indian rulers were not allowed to have their independent force, first of all. Then it means that they were to be protected by the companies, okay, but they have to pay for the company's expenses. It means when company will keep their armed forces over there, okay, then they have to pay the salary, they have to pay the wages and daily expenses of the army. Is that clear? Of company's army. Okay, so should I move next? Okay. Yes. And company was supposed to be, and company was supposed to be, supposed to maintain for the purpose of this product, for the purpose of this protection. Okay, purpose of this protection. Is that clear? Okay, if the Indian rulers, and the condition was that if the Indian rulers failed to make the payment, failed to make the payment, payment means company's expenses, okay, payment, then their territory was taken away. Okay, then their territory was taken away. Is that clear? What I want to say? And the territories that were, the companies that were, write down there, taken away as the penalty. Okay, penalty, and the states that were ceded, the states that were ceded by this alliance, by this doctrine, were Hyderabad, okay, and Awadh. Were who? Hyderabad, okay, and Awadh. Is that clear? Hyderabad and Awadh on the behalf of this subsidiary alliance. Okay, so let me give you the explanation what was the concept of this alliance actually was. Okay, so see here, firstly you should know that the doctrine of subsidiary alliance was introduced by whom? It's a very important question. Okay, you must know about it. The doctrine of subsidiary alliance was introduced by the Governor General. Governor General who? Lord Wellesley. Who? Lord Wellesley. Once more, the doctrine of subsidiary alliance was introduced by Lord Wellesley in year 1798. Is that clear? When? In year 1798. And this alliance was made on the behalf of that company would help to the Indian rulers, okay, by their army. What? Company would help to the Indian rulers by their army. Okay, so let's have a look over here that was the what the concept of subsidiary alliance was in details. So according to this alliance, Indian rulers were not allowed to have their independent force. Okay, it was an you can say conspiracy. Okay, it was an clever step made by the British. Okay, see here, suppose if any of the Indian state does not have his own army, okay, his own army, then how could he be assured for its protection? Okay, simply you can understood about it. If any of the Indian ruler, any of the Indian kingdom does not have its own army, then what was the ground, what was the basis that it could protect himself from any other forces, any other any other of his enemies? Okay, so for protection it is must that there should be the army. Suppose that today take the case of condition of India. Okay, if India do not have army, okay, if India do not have army, then what would happen? If India would not have army, then probably the any of the powerful force can attack over India, okay, and capture it. Okay, given the condition that Britishers have said, had promised that they will help to India, okay, but they were not supposed to do that things, okay, because they have given the condition that here they were to be protected by the company, but they have to pay for the company expenses. And one more thing was that, say here, one more thing was that they were not allowed to make any type of relation to the other states. Okay, they were not allowed to make any type of relation. Suppose this any of the state was here, okay, suppose it was any kingdom, okay, and there was any neighboring state, but Indian kingdoms, these rulers who have signed the doctrine of subsidiary alliance, they were not allowed to make any type of relation, neither enmity nor hostility, neither enmity nor friendly. Okay, they were not allowed to make any such relation to the other state or any other kingdoms. Okay, and they were supposed to be, the Britishers were supposed to be maintained for the purpose of the protection. Okay, means Britishers used to say that if you will pay for our army, then we will help you. Okay, we will help you for your protection. Okay, and if the Indian state, what was the condition there of subsidiary alliance? Very tough. Okay, if the Indian rulers failed to make payment, then their territory was to be taken away. What would happen if any of the Indian ruler who had signed who have signed this doctrine of subsidiary alliance was failed to make the payment to the company? Then their territory was to be taken as the penalty. Okay, then their territory was to be taken as the penalty. Okay, and the state that were ceded means captured. Okay, ceded means captured. The state that were ceded by this doctrine were Hyderabad and Awadh. Okay, Hyderabad and Awadh. Is that clear? Hyderabad was ceded in year 1801. Okay, 1801. Is that clear? So once more, should I give you the explanation? Yes, look at here. What were the doctrine of subsidiary alliance? Firstly, you should know it was introduced by Lord Wellesley. Okay, firstly you should know what that doctrine of subsidiary alliance was introduced by the Governor General Lord L. Wellesley in 1798. Okay, then after you should know what were the provisions. So see here, the provisions of the doctrine of subsidiary alliance was that Indian rulers were not allowed to have their independent force. First point. Okay, they were not allowed to have their independent force. Second point says that, what second point says? They were to be protected by the company. What means? Indian rulers have to be protected by the company, but they have to pay for the company's expenses of the army. Okay, they have to pay for the company's expenses of the army. Okay, now next one is, and company was supposed to maintain for the purpose of this protection. Okay, means company would maintain its army for giving protection to the other states. And here The condition was that if any of the Indian ruler failed to make the payment according to the doctrine of subsidiary alliance, then their state was to be, or their territory was to be taken away as the penalty by the British. Okay, means they would be captured by the British, and the state that were ceded on the grounds of doctrine of subsidiary alliance were Hyderabad and Awadh in 1801. Is that clear? So should I move forward? Okay. Let's have a look over doctrine of lapse. See here, the doctrine of lapse. Second one is the most important also. Okay, the doctrine of lapse. Okay, and I would like to make you clear that at this using this doctrine, one of the famous state, one of the famous Indian kingdom, you know, you are very well known of it, that was Jhansi, was annexed by the British. Okay, so let's have a look over this. See here, what was the doctrine of lapse? Firstly, you should know that it was introduced by Lord Dalhousie. Whom? Lord Dalhousie. Okay, who introduced doctrine of lapse? Lord Dalhousie. When? Yes, when? During his tenure 1848 to 56. Okay, 1856, and soon after its tenure, the great moment or the great war of India that we call the first war of independence, that was 1857, revolution of 1857 occurred. Okay, so today we will try to see it also. Okay, it was actually a policy of annexation. Okay, and that was also a policy of capturing. Okay, so what was the doctrine of annexation lapse? See here, according to this policy, the doctrine of lapse says that if an Indian ruler, say here, what were the policies according to doctrine of lapse? If an Indian ruler, okay, Indian ruler means of any regional kingdom ruler. See here, if an Indian ruler will die, what will die without a male heir of his kingdom, male heir of his kingdom, the lapse that is would lapse that it would become part of British territory. Okay, part of British territory. British territory means company's territory. Is that clear? Company's territory. Okay, and using this policy, the states that were annexed using this policy, the states that were annexed were, it's also a very important question for the competitive point of view. Okay, so see here, were in sequence. I am writing them with the dates. Okay, first of all, it was Satara. Which was Satara? Okay, in year 1848. Second one was Sambhalpur. Okay, Sambhalpur, 1850. Third one was Udaipur. Who? Udaipur 1852. Fourth one was Nagpur in year 1853. Okay, and fifth one, that was the last one, was Jhansi, and here it was in year 1854. Okay, 1854. So let's have a look over this, that what was this doctrine of lapse somehow in details. Okay, so see here, firstly you should know about it that this doctrine of lapse was introduced by Lord Dalhousie during his term of office 1848 to 1856. Okay, so after all, when he introduced this policy, the main concept of it was, the main aim of this doctrine was to annex all the Indian states, all the regional kingdoms that do not have any male heir. Okay, male heir means suppose there was a king, okay, and then in monarchy I have told you in civics that the son of the king would be the next successor, okay, and then after his son would be the next successor, okay, his son would be next successor. But if the king don't have any of his son, then what would happen? Then this policy was introduced there, implemented there, that if the king don't have any of his son, then his kingdom would be lapsed. What? His kingdom would be lapsed and it would become the part of the British territory. Okay, it would become the part of the British territory. See here, once more, the doctrine of lapse said that if Indian rulers will die without a male heir, okay, what does it mean? Means if any of the Indian ruler was ruling in any of the regional kingdom, okay, and he don't have any male heir, means he don't have his son, okay, his son means his own son, not adopted, okay. You know there are two types of son, adopted and own, real, okay. So if the condition was that their son should be, or the heir should be his own, okay, not adopted. So if any of the Indian ruler will die without a male heir of his kingdom, male heir, his kingdom would lapse, that it would be become part of the British territory, okay, it would be annexed. Annexed means to capture, okay, to overcome, okay. So here, using this policy, the states that were annexed are Satara first of all 1848, Sambalpur 1850, Udaipur 1852, Nagpur 1853, and Jhansi 1854. 48, 50, 52, okay, after the gap of every 2 years, and here after just 1 year, okay, 2, 3, 4, 80, 50, 52, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, okay, because in examination, in good examinations of a level examination like civil services, this question has been asked many times continuously, that what was the sequence of annexing these states by using doctrine of lapse. Okay, so first it was Satara 1848, second it was Sambalpur 1850, Udaipur 1852, Nagpur 1853, and Jhansi 1854. Jhansi from Uttar Pradesh, Nagpur from Maharashtra, Udaipur from Maharashtra, Sambalpur Maharashtra, and Satara also Maharashtra. Okay, so these states were annexed in British territory. Okay, now moving towards our next point, I would like to tell you here some of the general knowledge also. Here is the concept 1853. Okay, so in year 1853, I want to tell you that in year 1853, the first Indian rail from Mumbai to Thane district was run. Okay, the first Indian train was run from Mumbai to Thane. Okay, in year 1852, and in year 1854, the Charles Wood Dispatch, which led to the foundation of Indian education, okay, also came to India. Charles Wood Dispatch 1854. Okay, so this was the doctrine of lapse. Once more, I want to tell you the explanation, give you the explanation in details. See here, the doctrine of lapse was introduced by Lord Dalhousie in year 18 during his term of office and his term of office was 1848 to 1856. Okay, according to this doctrine, according to this principle, if any Indian ruler will die without a male heir, okay, of his kingdom, his kingdom would be lapsed, that it would become the part of the British territory, Using this policy, the states that were annexed in British territory were as Satara, Sambalpur, Udaipur, Nagpur, Jhansi. Here Satara 1848, Sambalpur 1850, Udaipur 1852, Nagpur 1853 and Jhansi 1854. Dear students, I want to tell you one more thing that I am about to launch the Hindi translation and Hindi explanation of the history. Okay, the history that we are studying from NCERT. So watch the video and wait for the Hindi explanation of history as well. I will provide you soon as it would be possible. Okay, till then stay safe and please make like, subscribe and share the channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you could get the latest update given by me and the latest video that I would upload here, so that it could reach you the earliest, could reach you to the you first. Okay, so have a nice day.